Well, actually,
put out stuff.
I would love to see the point of views from this discussion right here. You are a creator. You take something that's in your head and you put it out there. Then you have people that play it. Lit is one of my favorite players. People to play with as well too. He's on the chat right now too. Lit, is there a game that you like that you've seen played that you'd like to see turn into a video game or a movie or something like that? Please discuss, both of you.
One that I've seen or one that has?
One that you've seen, that you've played, that you'd love to see turn into an adaptation of TV or movie.
Oh God, a lot of games that I would love to see made into an actual movie.
Right.
I mean, if you're talking about like modern day, the most recent is probably Cyberpunk. That'd be a great movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mike said that he played that before too. I've not played that game yet. So do you think it would transition well from both your guys' point of views?
That's the selling part of the game, if we're being honest. Like it's basically like
it's
playing
just
a movie.
it's just a beautiful world. Like if you've seen 2049, like that's obviously what it's. All Blade Runner is basically what this is based on. But Blade Runner is like a super chill noir type of film, whereas the whole like premise would allow for something significantly more upbeat and action packed, and lots of driving set pieces and biomechanical stuff. Like it's a beautiful world that is definitely ripe for anything but a video game. Like, not that it shouldn't have a video game, but there is a lot of potential with that type of medium, right? Like it is really good looking stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, you've seen a bunch of like you kind of see it both sides, where you see video games that would be better as movies, and then movies that would be better as video games, and like almost the complete opposite, where like you wish that they would take this game and make it a movie, or you see a movie like. So like I think Ready Player One is kind of like a prime example. Like I think that idea is a great video game, and I think the movie is good, but I think like the idea behind that actual game is kind of basically what VR is all about. Like anyone who's played VR, has a headset, or has dove into that crazy of a world, like that's literally what VR is, and that's what they're shooting for, is to give you the option to basically go into a world and play not just one game, but to be like literally in a whole different world. And that idea of a game is something that a lot of people are looking for and trying to break into, but it's such a hard thing to develop, for one, to get backing, for two, and to actually execute. And so I mean, and it's the same with like MMOs. Like there's a lot of MMOs that would be great movies or great TV shows or great series, but it's so hard to kind of get all the pieces into play to actually execute it. And you've seen it messed up time and time again, that I think at this point people are just more willing to go with the surefire bet, right? Like that's why WoW has been the #1 MMO for so long, because no one else is just willing to try, because everyone who's tried before in the past has just wasted millions, and then the game is cool for like a month, and then people realize like it's not good, and then it just falls down to the wayside. Like,
you make a good point, actually. I don't think anybody. Yeah, the games, like it depends on like what Mike said, the shelf life and stuff like that too. Maybe because Resident Evil just keeps dishing out games. Maybe that's why they're just dishing out movies along with it, because the game is still viable.
Look at one of the most successful movie franchises of all time, and I don't mean just from a grossing standpoint. I mean, if you actually think of where the movie started to where it is now. Like Fast and the Furious is one of the most ridiculous movies ever made. Like we started from drag racing and like cops to now we're secret agents and probably going to space. Like it makes no sense.
Right.
So it's
like Mike has to leave.
Realize that.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry guys, it's
no. Do you?
You gotta go do some hockey, right? Gotta go tear up on the ice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. Well,
Mike,
thanks for having me on, guys.
Dude, thank you so much for your insight and your point of view.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Of course. Let me know if you ever need me back. So.
Absolutely, bro. And let me know if you ever need me in the voice box again, okay?
That's good. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Have a good Sunday, brother.
Hey, man. Self-promotion's all you got, so.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
there you
I hear
go.
that.
Do it.
I'll see you, bro.
Get it. See you later, boys.
All right, take care, bud. Thanks for having me on the show. Actually, who's talking about Ready Player One? Lit was?
Lit.
Lit. Dude, I okay. So my history with that is a little bit off. I loved the movie. I read the book growing up. I was a huge fan of the book. Thought it was great. When Steven B. Spielberg said that he was going to be looking for a new face to be Wade, I was like, okay, get me in. I went to the auditions. I did a Zoom audition and stuff like that. I went to the auditions and stuff like that too.
Oh, that's cool.
And I still have the audition script as well too. It's got my name all over it. I'm allowed to have it. I just can't post it apparently or something like that. But yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm in there, and then all of a sudden I'm like the last three, right? And then I get an email from the production company saying, "Oh, we decided to go a different way." I'm like, "Oh shoot." Well, I mean, at least somebody else got it, because I was really excited. I'm like, "Okay, at least it's a new face." Steven Spielberg said he's going to go back to doing that. And who do they hire? They hire Cyclops from the stupid freaking X-Men remakes and stuff like that. I was like, "That's not a new face. I know who that is. I'm over it. I'm over it. Fine. You know, whatever." So I think he did a decent job. I just really couldn't get it with his acting a lot. But I agree. I thought it was great how they melded in like the video game aspect. They had Master Chief in there. They had like Firefly. They had a lot of pop culture stuff with that show and that movie. Sorry.
Well, yeah. But the reason that movie is good and the reason that it went well, I don't necessarily think that the storyline or the plot or like even the production was honestly that amazing. I mean, it was a good movie for the sole fact that it just brought the old world of gaming and then more modern day age together in a seamless manner. Like that's what they really executed, is they brought like new age gaming, old age gaming, kind of showed how it can exist in one world, and it wouldn't be just like, because as of right now, right, you think of it as in, oh, like what console is out, like what PC do you have, what new game is out, what meta is this, or what's popular right now. Battle Royale's cool, let's all play that. And instead of it being just one hub for literally everything, and then you can play anything that you're feeling at that moment, it's all existing. You can be Master Chief playing soccer, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like that idea where you kind of combine gaming, kind of give people a platform to kind of just make whatever they are thinking of at that moment, is something that I think all video game designers and even people who consume it would be a part of. So it's like, but that's what I said, like, it's so hard to do it, because once you do it, which I think is also like what kind of keeps movies and video games kind of in a box, is once you do something, it breaks the mold. And then once you break the mold, then nothing goes back to being the same. So if you are the top dog, like, you don't care about breaking the mold. You want it to stay the same. So if it's like, so it's kind of hard when you see like like Madden, 2K, all those games that just keep repeating themselves. That's why they do it, because there's no competition. And if there's no competition, they have no reason to have to get better. So when you see video games and movies adaptations, like, that's kind of the problem, right? Like, someone has the rights to it. So because they have the rights to it, they don't need to make the best movie. It doesn't matter if it's good, to be honest. Like
I would love to see Halo come back. I want a Halo movie. You know, I mean, a Call of Duty movie would be really cool, like the first like Modern Warfare one. Like if you make that into a film, because you know you got military, you got the action and stuff like that too. But I want to see Halo on the silver screen, bro. I want to see it.
Halo would be one of the most like drop balls of probably like our generation, because it was the #1 game literally ruling the world, where like people were literally buying an Xbox just to play Halo.
Yeah.
And you did not ever think to make it a movie franchise or even a TV show that could have easily been adapted. It was literally the most adaptable story. And
I don't understand the trouble that they've had with it. I don't get it. Like the issues.
It's too big. It's too big to shoehorn in 2.5 hours. Like, in 2.5 hours is a long movie to begin with. And to do Halo right, and I love Halo too. You know what I mean? It needs to be like a Netflix series or like an Amazon series. And I think it will get there. But the other part of it too is like Halo came out, what year did Halo 1 came out? Does anybody know?
Oh shoot. Like, it was when I was in
if I remember correctly,
2006?
It is 2008. 2009?
No, it wouldn't have been 2008 because
before
2008 was when I was in high school.
It was 2003.
Okay.
I'm thinking of actually when I played. You're talking about the original Halo.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was thinking
So-
3.
Warfare Advanced or Change or something like that. Halo Warfare Change or something like that. I can't remember.
You know, and it went through some evolutions, and so but I would love that to come out. But now, you know, we're talking about a game they're remastering it, right? Today, because I'm not an Xbox guy, so you guys have to help me out. They're remastering Halos 1, 2, and 3.
They already
It's
did.
already been done.
It's already been done. It's called the Master Chief Collection. Yeah, it came out like a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if I think that's when they could probably bring something like that back, because Halo to me is tailor made. Like, I'm just agreeing with you guys are saying. I would love to see Halo on the screen, but I think it might be too big. It might be a victim of its own success because of the story is so layered, and I believe they wrap it up in Halo 3 like it's a continuing story too, right? It's not just one; it's 1, 2, and 3 kind of rolled together. So
yeah, they kind of split it up. If you look at the games and stuff like that, based on who had the rights to making them at the time. So
the interesting part about Halo, and when it comes to the thing, is if you do want to see a movie, the time it will happen is when they drop the newest Halo game, which is going to be like a sandbox game, and they're also saying that they're going to drop a battle royale with it, which we'll see how that goes. But
I want to see it. I want to happen. Make it happen.
Yeah, if it is successful, you will see it. I think you will at least see bare minimum a Netflix series, if not multiple movies, because you are correct. It's not like the old days where you can put out a 2-3 hour movie and people are just ready to go see it, because now it's like if it's over 2.5 hours, everyone's like pissed, which I don't get. Like, I love long movies, but
I like long movies too,
because we're from the older days. But
so the attention span of
the main part that you want to see is you don't want to see the game, and that's also the kind of problem with game to movie adaptations and why they're normally really bad. So best recent one in recent years that I've seen is The Witcher. And the reason that one was good was because they didn't make it a movie, and they realized, okay, cool, this is a TV show but we don't want to make it something that airs week to week because it will lose buzz and it won't be the way it is. They went with the Netflix adaptation, which I think was perfect, because you give people a full season, they can watch it at their own pace, and it's one of those series that you want to give that option to your consumers because it's only going to bring you more positive feedback. The less thing that you need, right? It's not Game of Thrones, and I remember you guys brought that up on the last podcast, was that the first season of Game of Thrones didn't do that well, and that's kind of why, like, because it takes a while to create buzz, and if you have to go from a week-to-week basis, your show better hit from that first or second episode, or you lose majority of your viewership. So if you do want to see a Halo thing, I think it has to be a TV show adaptation. It has to be Netflix or Hulu or whoever. I do not want to see a movie because I know they'll do it wrong. I have no faith in them to do a movie right. Like, unless we get like the A-list of A-list where we have so much movie put in, like so much budget and like animation put into this actual movie that it just can't fail. I have no faith in them to do it right, and I know they won't do that. So I'd rather them take their time, maybe even take like a year or two, take the revenue from your new game and Battle Royale, which is going to be ridiculous. If they drop a BR. I've said it before on my stream, and I've said it many of times, that if a Battle Royale from Halo comes out and it is done even halfway right, it is over for every other Battle Royale out there.
It's done.
Halo would destroy them all. Like, Call of Duty is cool, it's fun, but it's very infuriating.
It's cool, it's fun.
Fortnite is locked into where it's going to be. It's not going to go up or down. It's just going to, like, that game has made its place in history, and it will always be there. Apex is the same thing. It's just another Battle Royale that's very good. It has its audience, but it's not going to go anywhere up or down. So it's just going to stay where it is. So right now, it kind of goes, Call of Duty, Fortnite, and then Apex. But if Halo drops, it's over.
It's over. Nobody's gonna be able to compete.
It's over for everybody. I'll say that flat out. Like, it won't be close. Like, that game has had almost it's almost like the Avatar movie. where like we've been expecting this game for 5 to 10 years. It's been pushed back a million times for a million different reasons. I mean, I remember before the new Xbox dropped, and they've been showing trailers for the Halo for so long, and it's just like everyone's just like, yeah, finally this year, and then it just gets pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, which I don't mind pushbacks, by the way.
Pushbacks me neither. I'm like, okay, you're gonna make it better.
I'd rather you make a game that actually is good than to make a game that's trash. But more to like on topic, there has been a lot of games that have been made into good movies. I just don't know if necessarily live action would be the source that you would go to. If you go animated, it's been done plenty of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
If you go live action, I mean, you kind of limit yourself to a lot of things. Because I mean, the most recent one would have been Monster Hunter, and it was good, but it wasn't anything that's like.
It's another Mila Jovovich video game to
Yeah, it's like let me tell a million people about it. Like I said, I think the best ones that have been done is probably The Witcher. Castlevania was actually really good.
I loved Castlevania. Yeah.
Was it good? Okay, Rachel and I just started watching that last night.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. The animated, right? The anime?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they did it the right way.
Okay.
It's like,
we'll stick with it. We'll start watching it then, I guess.
Yeah, and then probably the best video game to actual movie is probably Final Fantasy. Like, but it's animated movie.
It's an animated,
Yeah, it's not the same as doing everything else. But if you look at the most successful franchise, I mean, it's Resident Evil, I think, bar none.
Yeah, I think,
Sadly.
right on there. Sadly. Painkiller 25 says there's a rumor Destiny wants to adapt its VR version as well. Halo would still be king, though. Yep, completely agree.
Destiny shouldn't do that.
I don't think Destiny would.
Not that they won't. I'm saying that they shouldn't. That would be a mistake. Yeah. Destiny needs to stay in their lane. There are certain games that can be adapted into a battle royale and it can be done very well.
Maybe Bungie. Maybe Bungie's a little butthurt because they own Destiny, right?
Think about it. What's the difference between Destiny and Apex?
Halo.
Or Halo. Any of them. Like, they all are the same. So, like, if Halo drops a battle royale, then Destiny really does not have a lane.
No, it doesn't. I'm saying, like,
making a battle royale to make a battle royale.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that 343 owns Halo right now, right? Bungie, who was the original Halo owner, they sold it to 343. I think that's why they want to make a BR. If what Adam is saying is true, it's because maybe they're trying to beat Halo to the punch and have their BR out first before if Halo gets started, because Bungie...
Oh, no, too late.
No, I would agree. I would say, I'm just thinking like in mind of them, you know?
Yeah, it's too late. That would take at least 3 years if they started today.
Yeah.
Like, that had to be... The reason I say this is because Destiny is a great game. And I don't know if either of you have played it, but
I played that game religiously. Me and Chris both played it together a lot.
Yeah, it is a great game. It is done very well, and it has definitely established a lane for itself. I think in the gaming world, but if you go into BR, the problem is you have to look at every other BR out there, and you have to say, like, what am I bringing differently? Like, why did I don't think anyone's ever compared, like, why did Fortnite do so well when at the time, like, PUBG was king at that point. And when Fortnite first came out, everyone's like, oh, why are they making another battle royale? The term almost hadn't even been, like, made at that point, if you think about it. And the reason Fortnite did so well is because it's easily consumable. It marketed well to kids. Anyone could play it. You could jump in and out. You didn't have to do very, like, 30-minute games. You can just drop in, have some fun kills, get clapped up or whatever, and then go about your day. Like, people who had like an hour or two to play, like, really could actually play Fortnite and then go about their day. Whereas, like, PUBG was more of like a lock-in philosophy, right? And then you think of Apex. Okay, well, what did Apex bring that was different than everyone else? They brought specific playable characters that you chose that each had abilities that made the game different and made it, like, newer. And so it wasn't like every time you dropped in, it was the same thing. It wasn't just loot up and fight. It was like, okay, well, we play this way because we're using these specific characters. Yeah. Oh, we'll also do these shields that heal a specific way with certain colors of armor, and it's a little bit more animated. it's like the middle between PUBG and
Fortnite. I would agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Call of Duty comes out, and you're like, okay, well, if Call of Duty makes a battle royale, this doesn't make sense because like, what are they going to bring that's different? And then they bring 150 player lobbies,
right?
Where the action's nonstop, where you can actually play the multiplayer game. Which at this point there was no battle royale that actually had another function besides being a battle royale. You either play the battle royale or the game doesn't exist. Where Call of Duty somehow mixed their multiplayer and their battle royale to make it one seamless entity, where you grind in multiplayer, learn the guns, learn what you like and dislike, and then you bring it into battle royale with custom loadouts and custom skins and stuff that you've earned in multiplayer, and then you play it that way. And then they've almost made their battle royale go with every new game that comes out. So there's always going to be new interesting updates and new guns dropping and constant changes and buffs and nerfs.
Yeah, they're trying to keep themselves viable.
Exactly. Yeah. So for a content creator, you like, what more could you ask for in a game that literally has over 80 guns in it currently? Like that's like playability aside, that's like a content creator's dream, to have a game that you could literally make a new loadout every single day and be like, oh, like you can look at people like Tim the Tap Man and all them who do stuff like, oh, my wife made my loadout. We did random loadouts today. Oh, we decided to do this specific challenge because of this particular loadout. And it just makes video after video after video. And so like that, they've done a really good job, and that's why they've never really fixed anything that like breaks the game, because all it does is create more for content creators, who are what's really driving their game to be the #1 in the world right now. Like nothing's close. So it's kind of like that great thing, which I would be very interested to see someone make a game and a movie or TV show adaptation
of Call of Duty,
somehow make them play off of each other. I don't care what it is. I would just love to see that kind of back and forth, that you could kind of see like this one played off of this one, and the buzz just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it would almost, because like, think about this, like this is just the best way that I can describe it. Think of if you had a Harry Potter game that was made after the first Harry Potter, and every time a new movie dropped, you got new content and new DLC.
Oh, that's what they should have done from the very beginning. I played the Harry Potter game when it came out on PC.
Yeah, but I'm just making the reference. Like, you can make
for like a VR,
or a shooter. But I'm saying, like, how dope would that be? Or even if you're playing The Witcher, and every time they dropped a new season, you got new story arcs. Yeah, like that would be lit.
That would actually be really cool. What do you think,
Because
Chris?
you would watch a whole season of a show and then play it.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be amazing.
I agree. I think it'd be great. What do you think, Chris? What would you like to see?
I think that would be. I think that'd be really hard to pull off, because I don't know the time. You right? Like in a perfect world, yeah. But like the time it takes to make a film, you'd have to first of all bank on that film doing well. And let's say somebody did that for, I mean, what's something that tanked recently? Like, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anything that's tanked recently, but had a lot of press behind it. Oh, that's The Mummy, for instance, with Tom Cruise, your boy. And so that had a lot of push behind it. I mean, fuck, that was going to be the flagship for Universal's Dark Universe. And so they had all these, they even did a Vanity Fair picture shoot with all these actors they had lined up to play these very particular roles. And that movie was terrible. But imagine if they had gone 2 years and done some type of AAA game in anticipation of that doing well, and then they would have had to have started the next one before the film came out, just to make sure it releases, let's say, when Dracula or Bride of Frankenstein comes out and it bombs. Right. And it's like you'd have to know that something is going to do well. And yeah, I mean, like, you have Fast and Furious, and you know that's going to make $1 billion. As much as I hate them and think they're ridiculous, they are making a money hand over fist. And so you could probably make a film or a game for that, anticipating that doing well. And I'm sure the Harry Potters too. That's a really good example. Maybe even Lord of the Rings, but there are very few IPs that can do that and then turn that into a release time in a video game form. A good example is the Avengers, the game, the one that people shat all over, that came out a couple months ago. granted, I think it was delayed like a year. It was supposed to come out soon after Endgame, which would have been great. Because to piggyback off your point, if I were able to buy a video game of the Avengers with the Avengers IP right after Endgame came out, dude, I would have got that shit as soon as I left the movie. But you know what I mean? It got delayed, and even though the game sucked, they still have my $60, so it doesn't really matter. So it would be a difficult model to do. And again, I'm not saying that that's what you're advocating for, but in a perfect world, yeah, that would be awesome to go ahead and do, and the hype behind that would be super real. Like, I absolutely agree with that. So, hey, on the side note, did you guys see that Resident Evil is releasing a BR?
They are?
A Resident Evil BR? That'd be hilarious.
They are?
I'm dead serious. So I bought the new one, right? And it was supposed to be released with this game, like as a free add-on. But because so many people just talk shit about it, it got pushed back a couple of months. But they're still releasing it. It's called Resident Evil RE Verse. So Resident Evil Verse. But,
wow.
No, it's out there. If you Google it, it's out there, and it's horrible. It's exactly what you would imagine a Resident Evil BR looking like. So,
yeah.
A bunch of clunky people running around.
I think probably the first thing that was made for gaming, even though it's the #1 games out there, was battle royales. I think as like a long gamer and someone who's pretty much living off of it, like I think it's ruined games because it's become this like there's one type of game. And every franchise that I've seen and grown up with and grown to love has either stopped making games or they've somehow made an adaptation. It's almost like you see a company that's huge and has all these like multiple titles and multiple accolades under their belt, and now they put like all their effort into making one of their games a battle royale, and then they kind of just make other games like almost as side projects. So they're not like all the other games that are coming out that aren't battle royales just don't have the same hit or the same buzz or the same storyline or it's like that you used to be able to. Like every time you saw a new game, it's like, I have to. I've owned an Xbox and a PlayStation just so I never missed any title because every new game that was dropped, it was just like, oh, you got to have this. You got to have this. Like I have hundreds of video games that I literally would just like, and anytime anyone come over, I'd be like, oh yeah, I just beat this. Yeah, you can borrow it. Just have it. It's cool. But like, it's a great game. I love playing. Like, and then now it's kind of turned into, if you don't see like almost like movie backing or something else, or like, I mean, Spider-Man's a great example, right? Like that's probably one of the best games that's come out in recent years that's not been a battle royale.
It's not a battle royale.
And it's because it has like the Miles Morales story behind it. It's one of those like where people have been waiting for it for a long time, regardless of when it came.
Right.
So, I mean, if it doesn't have like backing or old story, they're already a fan base. You almost see it being made these days. Yeah. Because like I would challenge both of you who are like longtime gamers as well to tell me a new video game that's come out that hasn't been like made from something that was already there, like something that was just brand new. Like I literally can't even outside of Cyberpunk, I literally can't think of a single one. And Cyberpunk's been going on though.
Death Stranding
for like 5 to 10 years. Like it's the same thing. It's been there. They just haven't been able to accomplish it.
Last of Us.
Where okay, yeah. So hey, there we go. That's one. And
I mean that's even being turned into a TV show now too. I mean that one I'm excited to see.
But they lost it on the second one. Sorry,
I'd love to get your opinion on that. There's two games that are huge and that are being adapted by Amazon and HBO. One of them is obviously Last of Us, and the second is Fallout. And I think that I'd love to talk to both of you guys about what I think it's a great median, you know, because it's going to be on the 10-episode series on HBO and Amazon. But let you bring up a good point, man. But it's hard, and again, just so I'm looking at it from the film point, right, where like you don't see a lot of original films that get greenlit for a budget of $100 million.
True.
Because you know, people aren't going to line up to see something they've never seen. If they don't like it, they're not going to get, because I mean, it's $21 here to see a movie, right? So like for me to take Jessica out to dinner or to the movies, it's $40. So like that's a lot of fucking money, right? So I want to be sure what I go.
LA.
I live in LA.
Oh damn.
Yeah. So when I go see something, I want to make sure that it's worth my money. So I think that, and I can speak for like my parents, right? My parents will line up to go see any sequel, you know, that they've originally done, right? Because they know they're gonna like it. But when it comes to original programming, and then original gaming for that matter too, because then you're on the hook for $60.
See, at that point, I'm looking at the director. I'm like, it was a Scorsese film. I'll watch it.
True.
Yeah. Well, like that's why I saw Ready Player One, because Spielberg was directing it. I didn't know anything about the books, the movie, or the actor, but I went to go see it because I knew, you know, I generally like Steven Spielberg films.
Travis dragged me to go see it. I was still butthurt.
I watched Tenet because I like Christopher Nolan films most of the part. You know, so I get it, but I would like to ask you guys about you've played Last of Us too?
Yeah, I've played them both. Yeah.
How do you feel about the translation of that going to HBO?
Have they specifically said that they're doing the second one, or like is it like they're continuing the story, or what are they?
It's the first one. It's Joel.
Thank God.
It's Joel
okay,
and what's her face?
Okay, and so, have you both played it real quick? Because I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, dude, that scared the shit. I played that in the dark, and when I was in college, oh my God, it scared the shit out of me.
The first one was a masterpiece. I think it was probably one of the best games I had played in a long time, and I was actually fairly surprised. It was a game that I had gotten on a whim, and it was kind of because like that's just like, I mean, the way that I watch movies is the same way I play video games. If I see mild interest, it's kind of like something that I've been fairly surprised, and I've almost find that some of my favorite games have been ones that I've come in with like a meh, I don't know, this might be okay. Same with movies. It's like when you come in with that mediocre kind of like, this is probably going to be okay, it could be bad, and then it surprises you. It really becomes a really good like experience, especially when you just play it nonstop. And I'm glad that they chose the first one. The second one I was not that big of a fan of, and I think the first one will translate really well into a TV series. I think after the second one, I don't want them to make the games anymore. I would actually just prefer them to just make it a series, because I think it can do really, really well. Like I think that storyline is amazing.
I thought it was great. I thought it was gonna be interesting. I did not like the second game. I think me and Chris and I have talked about this a little bit. The second game was I don't know, when you go about it that way, and you try and you hold on to humanity from the other end at a standpoint, but you really don't care about that standpoint originally. When you looked at the first game, it's hard to retain your audience. Yeah. I feel like you can't. You can make your antagonist. Yeah, you can make your antagonist relatable, but you don't have to just go and like, okay, we're gonna have the Joker kill Batman. Wait, what? You know, it's like it didn't track for me. I didn't like it. I'm sorry if anybody has been listening that hasn't played the game.
No, but. So that's kind of like why. So the first game when I played it, I mean, I'm talking about like from the first 5 minutes, I thought like I was like, oh, I'm in. Like this is it. And I think I was playing actually. So for those who didn't know, like I didn't play that game when it released for a long time because I was such a fan of the first one that I wanted to make the second one like a special experience. So like on my birthday, I literally streamed it, like me playing it live, and I like played it nonstop until I beat it. Nice. And it was something that, I mean, I put it off for months, and I was like avoiding videos on YouTube, Instagram, like everything. Like, and I was just trying to be like the thing. And of course I saw a couple people say like they didn't like it, but it's like I don't really care about most people's opinions. I don't like trust in the gaming or movie world, so it's like I kind of just was like, yeah, okay, cool, and then kept pushing, and then I played it. I think I was like 3 hours in before, or I wouldn't say 3 hours. That's probably an exaggeration. It's probably like an hour, because I think it's like an hour into the game. I think it was 3 hours because I was like doing a bunch of dumb stuff and being extra and searching every little nook and cranny. but
we know how he plays those games now. He's the explorer.
So for people who like don't want spoilers, like mute the audio. But when they killed Joel, that's when I was like, oh, we're in it. Like that was that moment where I was like, oh, okay, this game's here. Like I just want to clap these people who killed Joel. So
right.
Like, that's why I'm in this. But like it was kind of like, it's kind of like for anyone who's ever seen Naruto and then they made Boruto, like they skipped so much time and gave you no explanation. And that is like the worst thing for me as a consumer, is to like not know how we got from A to B.
Yeah, it's like Jon Snow telling his sisters, "Oh, I'm actually Targaryen," and they're not seeing the reaction.
It's like if you give someone like the first half of a plot, and then you jump to like the ending, like it just didn't make sense. Like it was like, wait, how did we get here? Like so like, okay, wait, so she's been dating a girl this whole time, and wait, but she like is interested in this. Like, what is like you just come in so confused that like it doesn't make sense. And so like the game kind of had me on an off put from like the gate.
Yeah.
And it was just like, if they had kind of at least, even if they gave you like a little prequel, because I don't know if you guys ever played, even though they released it after the first game, but Last of Us, when they released the episode series of when she's a little kid and she's with her friend, and that's when she
DLC
originally,
part of it.
Yeah.
Riley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when she originally found out how she was like immune and like all that forth. And it was kind of like, that was like almost like they could have released that, and I would have literally been cool if it was just like an episode beforehand. It kind of just, even if it was like sped through, so you can kind of get a gist of what the hell is happening, and like how we got there. But if you say they're choosing the first one, and then maybe they'll just kind of do like what Game of Thrones did and kind of make like their own little like thing, because I think that's why I think it'd be such a good series, is you make the first one and then you almost have like 2 or 3 seasons where you can almost make up whatever you want, and then and then get into the second one if you once we get there. But I think that would be an amazing series.
Yeah, amazing.
Fallout, I don't know as much.
See, me neither. Now I was gonna just wrap it up here with because I wasn't talking about Fallout, but since we're kind of off that one, I am super excited for Last of Us. I really enjoyed the second one too, but Naughty Dog for me has me like, I'm hyped for Uncharted, and I don't mean the games because I played all the games, but I mean the film coming out too. Like I like what Naughty Dog does, in the sense of their storytelling, at least in terms of Uncharted and Last of Us. But I couldn't agree more. I mean, they've casted Pedro Pascal as Joel, and they've got
Lyanna Mormont.
Lyanna Moore, thank you, Nate. As
they're making an Uncharted movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna come out in February.
Awesome.
Yeah, with Tom Holland as Nathan Drake.
Dude, they made a little not animated. They made a little YouTube fan film with Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake, which I thought was great.
So real quick, about the Last of Us. Did you guys play it when it was like before they like patched it and it looked the girl looked like the girl from Juno?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I thought it was.
That's what I thought. Ellen Page.
Elliot Page.
Ellen Page.
Yeah, they modeled it directly after her.
Mm-hmm.
There was really no consent.
Nope.
And if you actually played the more current ones or the remastered version, she looks completely different.
Yeah, she looks different. No, I played it when it was her. I played it the first week it came out.
Me too.
Yeah, and so I almost loved it because of that, because I was like, oh, it's like it's Paige, like this is awesome. I actually thought it was her. You come to find out that they like never really asked her, and she had like such a big issue with it that like they basically took her identity. And I was like, yo, that's wild.
Oh, I thought it was funny.
That was one of the craziest things. Yeah, it was like, imagine if you had a game that had like that was just like unplugged from the internet and it was never patched, and you just still have the original like version of it, and it's just
right.
Like, so awesome.
Yeah, dude, I miss games like, okay, they don't make games like they used to do. Like it was all one thing, right?
Sure.
And then if you got the DLC, cool, but you didn't have to buy to play or something like that. Like I like when it's like, I love those memes where it's like, tell me how old you are without telling me how old you are. I'm like, okay, cool. Have you ever blown into a Sega Genesis cartridge?
Well,
it's
Carter,
like,
I think made probably one of the best points I've heard this whole time, is that it's hard if you don't show people how they're going to get their money, then they're not about to just give you money to just shoot your shot. Like that's probably one of the hardest things to get to happen nowadays. And DLC is unfortunately the easiest way to make money. Like we'll give you a game that's 60% done, and then we'll charge you $20 for each 10% of the installment. And regardless of if you lose 30% of your player base each time you do the DLC, that $20 makes up for it. Like you, if you think about the copies that they have to sell to really make consistent money to maintain the servers and to do this, that, and the third, like DLC is just kind of the easiest way. Or you have to do the other one, which is just microtransactions like Fortnite, where you just have a huge development team that's just making constant skins and guns and this, that. So that way people will just drop like $5 to $10 each week just to keep everything afloat and to have some constant revenue, because that's $60 a game, man. That doesn't last like it used to, where it used to be like, because I remember playing the most recent game that I played, Outriders, and it had a terrible launch, and it was just nonstop disconnection from servers and nonstop this, and
agree.
It was one of the worst. Outside of Anthem, it's probably one of the worst gaming experiences I've seen in a long time. And the game was so good. It was so good. I'm not even kidding. I was prepared to stream it for a long time. And it kind of was like, damn, like we've gotten to this part of the world where we can charge people $60 for a game that's not completed. Like now that you can do updates in DLC and release patches and stuff like that, there's no longer a requirement to be like, oh, is the game finished? Okay, well then put it out. It's like, is it at least enough for them to play? All right, cool, just put it out. We'll just say that we're gonna drop DLC or patches in like the next weeks, and it's cool. And it's like, dog, like I'm not trying to like me personally, right? It's not the worst thing to drop $60 for like I said, like it's my job. So like me dropping $60 for content creation isn't something that I really trip about, because it's like the revenue comes back.
Right.
But for the standard consumer, that's not a thing. And they don't have just $60 just to blow on a game that might not even last them a month.
Right.
Like that's a crazy concept, where if we go back to the days of like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, like not even that long ago, when you realistically think about it in the world of gaming, like that was unheard of. If you dropped a game like that and it was like broken or fixes, and you didn't have the ability to just patch it like online immediately as it is now, you would have been fucked. Oh my god, you would have been reamed alive.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And you said, Carter, did you say you played Cyberpunk?
No, I missed it because of I was gonna get it, but I heard it was best on PS5. I don't have 5 yet, but dude, it got ripped with the bugs. I mean, people were posting videos on YouTube just showing that how bad it looked. So,
it was crazy. My friend who bought it literally to this day, and I mean currently, has still not been able to play it, because every time he gets to a certain part in the game and he has a PlayStation 4, it literally glitches and won't let him continue past the game. And they've tried to patch it. He's reached out to devs. He's done everything, and it still has not worked. Wow. And it's the crazy, dude, it got to the point where they sent out a statement that literally said, we understand that we have messed up. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Right.
If you would like a refund for your game, like you can get it. And it's like, I have never seen a company
do that. Yeah.
And it's like, how bad do you have to mess up to be like, all right, you can
we'll give your money back.
We won't fix it because we don't know how. Let me give you your money back.
That's our bad, guys. Yeah, just give it back to us.
I've seen theaters do that when the freaking power goes out, but I've never seen a video game company do that.
$60. You know how much
$60. It's a lot of money. Yeah.
They paid for their production, and I don't know if you guys know this. They paid for their production of the game within the first 3 hours of the game being available for purchase.
No shit. That's a first wild fact.
3 hours.
Yeah, Cyberpunk, man, that's crazy.
So like they blew their predictions out of the water for how much they sold of the game. Like they was not I think they expected the game to be good. I think they expected it to be like, you get the game, the buzz happens, and then maybe like the second week they start to see the real like revenue stream pop. And they did it in the first day. Like after 24 hours, they had just blown they were breaking record after record for like opening day sales.
Well, the game went viral before the game was announced, like with Keanu Reeves being on stage.
100%. Great marketing strategy too, but it's just like it just, to me, I was so confused, and not to ruin the spoilers if you never played it, but like the game ends, and it's not really like a spoiler, but the game ends, right? And they have DLC. How does that make sense?
No way.
Wow. Like that doesn't make sense. You literally, how do you have DLC for a game that ends? Like, I don't understand that.
It kind of reminds me of like Assassin's Creed. Like, you beat the game, and all of a sudden you can go back and go into the same city that you were in that was supposed to be on fire and stuff like that, I guess. But yeah, I agree. It's weird. But
yeah,
man, I'm excited to see what the new game's coming out. I want to see Halo coming to main screen. I want to see VR from that game. I think we went over that kind of stuff as well. Chris, you wanna bring up the next topic for next week?
Man, what are we talking about? I mean, hell, at this point, we should just have lit back and we should talk about games.
More games and stuff, right?
Dude, well, I mean, honestly, it's funny. There's so much that goes into it. Like, dude, we talk about marketing. We talk about fiscal growth, loss. This can make studios' careers. With Mike on earlier, like, he's not going to get offered another, well, maybe he will, but not with Uwe Boll directing it, because there's so much involved with that. Like, Nick Merckx was on with Kevin Hart and I forget who else a couple of days ago, and they asked him how much he made gaming, and he says, I probably make more than most of you make just by fucking playing video games. So like my issue, it's like a great place to source like inspiration and creativity from, and the fact that we haven't got it yet, like on a slam dunk scale, to me is just, it's a supreme miss. And I wonder if it's because maybe studio executives don't want to believe all these, people play video games. That's not to be taken seriously. When you go to a picture that you go see, you know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot to unpack there, and there's a lot to figure out maybe why on the back end some of these things haven't translated over when they quite easily could have. I mean, the three of us play Call of Duty. I'd love to see a Call of Duty film. I don't think it'll ever get made because of the production weight that would carry with it. But no, man. I guess, Nate, to answer your question, I don't know what we should talk about next week. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm too hyped.
I do have a topic I think it'd be interesting for us to talk about, and I think Lit actually can go into it. We talked about DC, we talked about Marvel, we talked about movies and stuff like that too. I want to talk about this open, vast atmosphere that is now coming to limelight, where it is not owned by DC, it is not owned by Marvel, but you have superhero animated and TV shows that that are not associated with Marvel or DC. You got The Boys, you got Jupiter's Legacy, you got Invincible, and all these other, and all these other things that are doing really well. I'd love to talk about what you guys think about why they're doing so well, what we like about those shows and stuff like that. Because there's a lot. I think
that's a pretty good topic.
Yeah, I think that'd be great because
it is like a new era, almost like a modern day era of superheroes, almost like the next up if you think about it that way. Because
absolutely.
That is a great point to bring up. And it's crazy because I just saw that last night when I was actually up at like 2 a.m. for no reason.
Dude, Jupiter! I just finished Jupiter's Legacy yesterday. It was great.
I haven't even touched it, and I saw it, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching this. Like, this just has that vibe that like, and for those who haven't seen Invincible, I highly recommend it.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. That is probably. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the animated Batman's Red Hood.
Yep. I watched every single DC animated anything.
That was the best adaptation of an actual real-life version superhero. Like, where you actually see the blood and the carnage that actually would go into if you were a real-life superhero. Like, I'm tired of... Like DC and Marvel, they've covered everything from home plate all the way around the bases. Like, there's no real thing that you can do that's just the cookie cutter version of doing superheroes. Like, at this point in time, if you want to break the mold, which is kind of interesting that you brought that up, Nate, is that every single one of those new shows, that is literally what they're going off.
They're going through it.
Right. They're like rating R, basically.
I don't want to break into
what would happen if you could move like you could move so fast that you can literally split people if you don't know where you're running. Like, that's exactly. Like, that's such a good, because we've all been watching for years and thinking that how do they not just kill people?
How do they not just kill people running through?
It's hard, but how does he not kill someone? Or this person can do this. How do they not accidentally do this? Or like, when you're saving someone from a falling building, like, how has that person never died or done it? You know what I mean?
I was
too unrealistic. So it's like, that's crazy too. And then another topic too that I think that you guys would also enjoy is like new and upcoming games that are trying to like break the genre or break the mold or do something, because there's a lot of games that are in projects and doing stuff. Like one of the ones that I've been looking at for like going on 2 years now is, and I think this will be a huge topic that a lot of people will actually be interested in, is Ashes of Creation. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
But so like I said earlier, the WoW has been the #1 MMO for a long time. There's Final Fantasy, and there's other
League of
ones
Legends.
that are kind of just like in the realm that are also do very well for themselves and people love them. But Ashes of Creation is this new MMO. It's being funded by I literally forget his name, but he is personally funding it himself. He has made all the money. They have made all the necessary moves for the last 5 to 10 years to make a game that is made by people who play it. And the guy who literally is the owner and like the CEO, like played MMOs his whole life, and he has done very well for himself just outside in the real world. And he decided, I want to make an MMO that's for MMO players, that listens to its community and does this, that, and the third. And they've done it to the point now where they do like weekly like updates, and like they show you raw game footage, and the game is nowhere near to being done. And they get live feedback from actual like they stream on Twitch too, but they do like YouTube videos and stuff. They get live feedback. They literally listen to the community. They make changes. They're making, it's going to be to the point, like imagine this. Imagine you're on a server and you're playing a game with you and your buddies, and you're having all these great times on your specific server. When you go to another server in a normal game, right, you would expect the same thing, and it would just depend on the population or what so have you, or which side you chose. That's what a normal MMO looks like. This is an MMO where the choices you make, the races you decide, and almost like the influence of your particular clan of people influences how the world is built. Like no server is the same, no world will look the same, no dungeons will be the same. Like it is literally a server that's going to start bare, and as you level up and do quests and experiences, it literally molds the whole server.
That's kind of
to be its specific entities, to where it's not like going to be the same. Like if I'm an elf and Carter, you decide to be humans or whatever race so have you, and let's say you and your group of people do more to level the server than my group of people do, then the main city is going to be like a human city and not an elven city.
That's badass.
Yeah, but then let's say Nate is a dwarf or something, and he comes over and he raids your city and destroys it, then it can be turned into a dwarven city. And then that maybe because it's a dwarven city now, it might unlock a different level of a dungeon, or a dungeon can look different, or the aesthetics are different.
Dark elf, always dark elf.
Is the craziest idea for a game in an MMO, that if they can follow through with it, it would destroy the whole like meta completely. Like it'd be awesome. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds great. No, that's great. I think those are good ideas. Hell yeah. So we got some stuff to talk about next week.
I know Rachel wants to do the horror stuff with you as well too sometimes. So
hell yeah, she is. Don't you let her. I've not forgotten about that. Trust me.
Not
good. Oh, are you big into horror, Carter?
Bro, yeah, that's kind of my jam.
Do you see the posters behind him?
Oh yeah, I guess this is why all my stuff behind me. No, yeah, man, that's kind of where my wheelhouse is. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, not at all.
No.
Hate it.
Hey, let's do this. When Conjuring comes around, when the Conjuring next movie, The Conjuring comes around, let's talk about horror then. How about that?
Dude, I literally can't, like, with horror movies for me, man. It was like I just never saw the purpose in them, and I feel like horror is like, I've never met someone who's been in between on horror though. To be fair, I feel like it's a definitely like a specific consumable where, like, if you are into it, it is probably one of your favorite genres, and it's what you love the most to watch.
It's Rachel's favorite genre, for sure.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, it's just not your cup of tea. And it's like, for me, I'm gonna tell you guys something, and you're probably gonna make fun of me, but I don't even care. the movie that ruined it all for me was Paranormal Activity.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it.
I hear that a lot.
And the reason I said, but to everyone's like, oh my god, that's such a it's what that movie's so dumb, and I was like, no. The reason it ruined it for me was because it was just realistic enough to actually mess with my mind. Everything else, like it, and like anything else that you can see, whether it be like even like all the movies behind you as well, like Halloween or you got Freddy versus Jason, any of that. I know that's not happening. like right. That's not if that happens, I'm screwed to begin with. So why am I even scared for it? Like it's over. But but when it was paranormal, I was like, bruh, yeah, you'd be at home and just hear your fan twirling, and you're just like, hold up, this ain't it.
Yeah, man. When Rachel and I first started dating, I'd come home from work and she'd have like some Amazon horror movie on, and I'd be seeing some of the guy's genitals getting sawed in half. I'm like, "You're watching this?" She's like, "Yeah, it's crazy, right?" I'm like, "That's what you took from that? That's just crazy." No, I couldn't. Yeah, the horror. I'm like one of those guys. I'm like, okay, I'll watch some horror. Some horror is not for me, and my friends like watching horror with me just because of how I freak out to it. They like watching my reactions and stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely do that, man. We'll talk about it. We'll get the next topic next Sunday. I think 11 a.m. still. Chris, what do you think about 11 still? 11 still works?
Yeah, I'm good. So Sundays are
This has been our longest freaking episode. 2 hours.
A lot to talk about, though.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a lot to talk about. It really is, guys.
Sorry, guys. I talk a lot.
No, bro, it's good. We're all insight. I mean, are you kidding me? Insight is. I love good insight. So no,
it was good. We got a video game producer and creator that got one of his things go to movies, and we also have a very knowledgeable streamer and gamer. So I think.
Wait, was the last guy? He makes video games?
Yeah.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah, he's on his 4th, going into his 5th one and stuff like that now.
That's
his
so
series.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
One of my roommate's friends is he just graduated video game design school, and he's really big into it, and I've watched a couple of his he's just streamed over Discord, and I've watched a couple of him just making a game, and the amount of stuff that I did not know goes into the simplest things, crazy. I feel like it's almost from the video world too, because I've heard you guys mention it a lot of times where you see a director and that just is enough for you. That I am a guy who has watched way too many movies. I'm talking I go to Redbox and I watch stuff that was going to be bad just because.
Yeah, the cover art gets you.
Yeah, and I have never once ever looked at who the director was. That's never been a thing for me. I just always just kind of blindly go into stuff just so I don't have a precognition of if it's going to be good or not. And I think now I might have to start doing that because I didn't know that much kind of. A director can have that much influence, even though it's kind of a dumb statement to say, because obviously that's the case. But that's never crossed my mind to be oh, this person's the director. Oh, well then this movie's gonna be like this. But now that you guys keep bringing it up, and I've actually thought about, and I've looked it up after hearing you guys talk about it a couple times, I'm now starting to realize there is really a trend with the way that directors make the same movies, just with a different script. It's crazy.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Michael Bay's a big one right there for that. Tim Burton's another one. They all have different tones. If you watch the movies and see how they're made and stuff like that too. And Chris, that's another topic I want to talk about: directors and tones and stuff like that too. What they're making next. It's fact that Scorsese said Marvel and superhero movies were tanking the movie making experience and stuff like that.
He said they didn't matter. He said there were no stakes involved with them.
Yeah, he's why did they should be allowed to get Oscars? And I'm I agree with him on some points, and some points I don't agree with him.
Yeah, I would love to just say stuff and then hear your guys' actual expert opinion on it. Because when it comes to movies and stuff, I just have I want to say the consumer viewpoint, and I love people who actually are dived into a particular topic and know so much about directors and how they do stuff like that. I love knowledge. Knowledge is my thing. So I love just hearing people who are actually in the space or know a lot about it and have experience, Nate from editing, and Carter, I assume you have a lot of experience with that as well. For actual movies, that'd be dope. Hear that back. That would be. I'm gonna make
Lit a T-shirt that says "I stream and I know things."
All you gotta do is add to the bottom, I eat McDonald's, and that's pretty much me. Statements.
Oh man, yeah, this has been a good episode, Chris. I'm glad I'm glad we got Mike, dude. I told you, like, I remember like, where you keep finding these people. I'm like, I know people. This is what I do. I've known.
That's your T-shirt.
I know. I've known Mike for years, man. Every single time he hits me up, he's like, "Hey, I need some more help." I'm like, "Sweet, I'll be there." Go into the editing booth, watch him put the stuff together and stuff like that too. Get the mics up. It's always a blast to do voice acting. You said Fallout. I actually was in Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, really?
I actually had a character. Captain James Captain J. Jameson. That's actually my guy. I spent 2 years in the voice box doing voice work for the video game, dude. It's crazy.
Dude, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love voice acting, dude.
I should have asked you about the Fallout game, but that'll be a topic for next week because I think we're getting a little long in the tooth here. We got to wrap this bad boy up. So
for sure.
Next Sunday at 11, we're going to be talking about what do you call it? Non-traditional comics, kind of.
Yeah.
Or non-traditional kind of comic providers and shows and things like that, maybe.
Yeah, the non-DC, non-Marvel. We got The Boys, we got Jupiter's Legacy and stuff like that too. Definitely watch that show if you guys haven't seen it. It's great. I love that. I can't wait for the next season. All right, guys.
All right, hey.
Lit, Mike, thanks so much. Chat, thanks for sticking with us. Rachel, Adam, Painkiller X25, and everybody else out there too. Check us out on YouTube. It's gonna be out there a little bit probably as well too. And Chris, you want to give us an update on SoundCloud and our new marketing?
Yeah. So I know that we had some issues with our sound, and we want to be having good sound because we're going to be on SoundCloud. It's one thing to look at our faces and hear something. It's another thing just to hear our voices. So we're working on getting some audio cleaned up. We had an input issue with your mic, Nate. So now that should be fixed after this episode.
Yep.
So all of our SoundCloud stuff should be going up. I would say by Monday. Tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's gonna be great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Well, I'll catch you guys later. Lit, thanks so much for joining us. Mike, if you watch this on YouTube, thanks for joining us as well too. Love your input and your expertise as well about video games and their transition to movies. And chat, have a wonderful rest of your day. This is ReelChat with NAT3MILL and
Chris Carter.
Thanks so much for sticking with us, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week.